What would you do if a stranger knocked on your door in the middle of a blizzard, at midnight, alone? This widow opened it anyway. And what she didn't know was that the boy standing in the snow was about to walk into the one story she thought had already ended 2 years ago. The snow began as a light drizzle over Cambridge, but within an hour it became a raging blizzard. Streets disappeared beneath white waves, and even the streetlights struggled to shine through. Daniel Ashford, a Harvard economics student, was walking home from the library. He could have taken the subway, but he only had $40 left until payday. Every dollar mattered. His mother back in Ohio depended on him, and saving cab fare meant helping pay her heating bill. As the storm grew worse, Daniel realized he had wandered into unfamiliar residential streets. His phone battery had already died. The freezing wind numbed his fingers. Every house looked the same beneath the snow, and panic slowly replaced confidence. For the first time, Daniel understood how people could actually freeze to death. He wasn't just cold anymore, he was in real danger. Then he noticed something glowing through the snow. A warm yellow light spilled from a beautiful colonial house sitting quietly behind iron fences. Without thinking twice, Daniel climbed the freshly shoveled walkway and knocked on the front door, hoping someone would answer. The door opened to reveal a beautiful woman in her early 30s wearing a soft gray sweater. She looked surprised, but not afraid. Shivering uncontrollably, Daniel apologized and explained he was lost. Before he could even finish, she simply said, "Come inside." Warmth rushed over him as he stepped inside. She wrapped him in a blanket, handed him hot tea, and led him toward a crackling fireplace. Her name was Claire Whitfield. The cozy home was filled with books, family photographs, and a peaceful silence that somehow felt comforting. Claire noticed Daniel's Harvard ID around his neck and smiled. He joked that despite attending Harvard, he had clearly failed Winter Survival 101. She laughed softly, breaking the tension. It was the first genuine smile either of them had shared that night. As they talked, Daniel shared his story. His father had lost his factory job years ago, inspiring him to study economics so his family would never struggle again. Claire listened carefully, giving him her full attention. It felt as though she hadn't had a real conversation with anyone in a very long time. Daniel noticed a framed photograph sitting above the fireplace. It showed a smiling man standing beside Claire. Following his glance, Claire quietly explained that the man was her husband, Thomas. He had died in a car accident nearly 2 years earlier. Ironically, Thomas had also been driving through a snowstorm when the accident happened. Since then, winters had never felt the same. Daniel offered his sincere condolences. Claire admitted she rarely spoke about Thomas, especially with strangers. Outside, the blizzard became even stronger. The wind shook the windows, making it clear Daniel couldn't safely leave that night. Claire prepared the guest room for him and even found one of Thomas's old flannel pajamas. They were far too large, making Daniel laugh. It was the first carefree laugh he'd had in weeks. Somehow, despite everything, the strange night already felt unforgettable. Later that night, unable to sleep, Daniel wandered downstairs. He found Claire sitting silently beside an old piano. She confessed she couldn't sleep either. The house always felt especially empty during storms. Daniel admitted he still couldn't believe she had trusted a complete stranger enough to let him inside her home. Claire smiled sadly. Her late husband always teased her for trusting people too easily. But after Thomas died, everything changed. She stopped answering the door and slowly isolated herself from the world. That evening, hearing the storm outside reminded her of one simple thought. If someone needed help, she hoped someone would open their door. When Daniel knocked only minutes later, she felt as though life itself had answered that thought. The two sat together in comfortable silence while the snowstorm roared outside. Neither felt the need to fill the quiet. Daniel eventually asked her to play the piano. Claire admitted she hadn't touched it since Thomas passed away. Still, after a long pause, she slowly lifted the piano lid and placed her fingers on the keys. The melody was hesitant and imperfect, but incredibly beautiful. It sounded less like music and more like healing. When she finished playing, Daniel quietly thanked her. No further explanation was necessary. Morning arrived with brilliant sunshine reflecting across fresh snow. The storm had completely passed. Claire cooked breakfast while Daniel called his roommate using her old landline telephone. Soon, a ride was on its way. Standing at the front door, Daniel sincerely thanked Claire for saving his life. Then he nervously asked if he could visit her again someday. Claire smiled warmly and told him she would like that very much. For the first time in years, she felt a small piece of hope return. As Daniel walked away wearing Thomas's old boots, neither of them realized that one snowy night had changed both their lives forever. Some doors, once opened, never truly close.